Okay, welcome back. We'd like to take the time right now to highlight the wonderful news stories that my colleagues at BronxNet, the reporters and videographers, have put together. So, take a look.
From singing songs to lighting the menorah, the Bronx Hanukkah celebration is officially underway here at the Riverdale Y.
The season of Hanukkah and the holiday season is a time to reaffirm our commitment to our community, to our faith, to our family.
With the rise in anti-Semitism, the Hanukkah celebration is a time to embrace Jewish tradition and combat hate with love.
And so it's important for us to always stand with our Jewish brothers and sisters during the good and the bad times.
In the face of rising anti-Semitism, I love proudly displaying that I am Jewish. And my favorite tradition on Hanukkah is to light the candles with my family and display the menorah in our windowsill.
As a center that serves the Riverdale community with children to senior residents, CEO Melissa Sigmund and board president Peter Goldman feel it is especially important to bring leaders of different faith and organizations together during this time.
So one of the core values here at the Y is really to build and strengthen our community. And for me, it's so important and essential that we bring together leaders of different faiths, of different organizations.
We're very much interested in bringing all parts of the Bronx community together to learn from and about one another.
Reporting for BronxNet, Jonathan Calixto.
We are here at Montefiere's Moses campus. We are joining Montefiore Medleys. This singing group uses the technique of singing to help patients recover from strokes and other neurological disorders.
We're here today to celebrate the holidays, of course, and bring together some of our patients who have suffered neurological insults in the hope of singing together as a group, as a choir, to improve their expressive language and their communication.
Ricardo is a resident for physical medicine rehab who was a doctor in Colombia for 8 years. But here's a little fun fact. He is also a trained opera singer.
I really enjoy singing, so one of the main objectives that I have in residency is to pursue performing arts medicine, which is just how we help artists and singers and dancers in a way of rehabilitation.
We was fortunate enough to speak to a patient and survivor of a stroke. Dwight gives other survivors some encouraging words.
Be patient. Do not be bothered about other people, be patient and you will find your way around.
To find out how you can join and be a help to a stroke survivor, visit www.montefiore.org and click on Newsroom to find out how and when you can sign up for these singing sessions. For BronxNet, this is Kyrie Moody.
And just like that, professional wrestling made its way back to the Boogie Down with a premiere show titled Welcome to the Bronx, presented by local wrestling company We Are Wrestling at St. Helena's Church.
Professional wrestling has not been in the Bronx in over 3 years. And I'm a Bronx kid, born here, raised here my whole life, 30 plus years here in the Bronx. And so for me, to bring wrestling back to the Bronx is a major, major step.
The sold-out show featured a lineup roster of national and local wrestlers. For the Bronx-bred wrestlers who mainly perform and train outside of their home borough, this premiere event felt like a homecoming.
To be able to give what I do with my heart and my soul and my art back to the community, being here at St. Helena's, which is the elementary school that I went to, is so special to me. It's inspiring. I hope to touch as many people as I can with this story and with what I do here.
There's not a lot of people from Kingsbridge doing what they're doing out here. For the neighborhood, either playing basketball, baseball, the usual stuff, or you're on the streets. Doing professional wrestling is something I've always wanted to do, and I feel like there's a lot of people like me who's out there that don't know how to get into this or are ashamed to do it. So with me being one of the top 500 wrestlers in the world, I'm showing people this is what you can do. So it feels great to be here.
This is where I started 5 years ago. Today's my anniversary for wrestling, and it's gonna be a crazy show. I can't wait for the first bell to the last bell. It's gonna be nonstop.
The event was also an opportunity for attendees from the smallest to the biggest fans to meet their favorite wrestlers, support them by purchasing merchandise, and get autographs.
The last time there was a consistent wrestling company in the Bronx was the Bronx Wrestling Federation, BWF, out of Darrow's Gym, right off of Whitlock Avenue, and that was it, and it was once a month. This is something that does not happen in the Bronx, and I want for Bronx people to be able to come to a Bronx wrestling show and see wrestlers from all over the world.
The win of the evening went to Bronx-born and bred wrestler Matt Awesome, who became the first We Are Wrestling champion after defeating opponents in an action-packed and exciting Rumble in the Bronx. He dedicates the show to a departed loved one.
she gave me the blessing before she passed to train. She got sick with cancer. She passed in November 6th to be exact. So this Sunday makes 6 years. I debuted literally a year after she passed. Ma, this is for you.
I wish we had more like this, but repping in the Bronx and for my guy who's from the Bronx is the best. I'd rather do it here than traveling out of state for sure.
This is the first of what I hope to be very many shows. In fact, I'm going to announce later on tonight that our next show, we haven't picked a date yet, but in the first quarter of 2023, we will be crowning our first ever champion here at We Are Wrestling, and it will be taking place here in the Bronx. The future is bright for We Are Wrestling, and I want it to be a Bronx future.
Tonight's event brought well over 100 attendees here to St. Helena's in the Bronx, which proves that wrestling is back and better than ever in the Boogie Down. Follow We Are Wrestling for more information. Reporting for BronxNet, Sanji Lopez.
This 15,000 square foot space is empty now, but soon it'll be home to a Black-owned and worker-owned knit factory, Katy, New York.
I was a former dancer, and we started making dancewear. That was our, and it still is. That was our original mission. And I wanted to build a new state-of-the-art manufacturing facility, which is what we're doing here in Hunts Point.
This wouldn't be the first time Katy, New York operated in the Bronx. The business opened a factory in the borough back in 1987. This new factory will be located at the Peninsula, a new development atop the former grounds of Spofford Avenue Juvenile Center in Hunts Point. Co-owner David Lee hopes this will bring a new era of development without displacement, environmental sustainability, and community wealth building.
I felt very strongly about community ownership, having a stake in the community, having a real place in the Bronx. We've been in the Bronx for over 40 years, and I thought that part of it was important. So as far as the employee ownership, that's always been a major part that was important to me.
They're going to do is they're going to bring worker equity, so workers will own part of the business. So of course there's an economic component. If the business does well, the workers who are also owners do well. But there's also a social component around democratizing the workplace. These workers can design their schedules. They can design important parts of their work around what they do and around their experience. So it's also bringing in what we call inclusive economic development to the borough.
Here I get access to media, access to an incredibly coherent, together workforce. I get access to customers. I get access to talent all over New York City. Here in Hunts Point, that's what I'm going to get, and that's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to build and see, flourish.
The garments at Katy, New York will be made of vegetable cashmere, a plant-based fabric composed of soy protein. We asked David what inspired this idea and about the process.
I've been a vegetarian or a vegan most of my life, and I started doing some research. We were knitting quite a bit in cashmere, and I started doing research on the sustainability of cashmere about 10 years ago, and I saw that this is not really a sustainable direction. And I started thinking, well, why don't you think about an alternative? What would happen, what it would look like if we were the leader in upcycling plant-based waste into new fibers, and if all of that happened in Hunts Point and here in the Bronx. And that's kind of what we plan to build here in this location, in addition to advanced manufacturing and making this the home base for KD.
So there's a social good from thinking about sustainability in fashion, but there's also a workforce and an economic development component around bringing those type of jobs. So when that type of manufacturing comes back to a place like the Bronx, it is our responsibility to support it and also to think about amplifying it.
Katy, New York seeks to provide up to 92 jobs by the year 2024, operating on a worker-owned model. They hope to become a leader in upcycling plant-based waste into new fibers locally here in the Bronx. Reporting for BronxNet, Sanji Lopez.
Thanks to all the great BronxNet personalities and videographers for all the hard work they do in the field to bring us all that stuff. We'll be right back here after this.